All right, what's up, everybody? Steve Coffey here again with another guest interview about his basketball professional experience. I'm here with Tanner. Tanner's a guy I met in France probably 5, 6 years ago, something like that. He's played in different places all over the world. Right now, he is in, correct me if I'm wrong, the Philippines.
No, Thailand. I'm in
Thailand.
Bangkok, Thailand.
Yeah, Bangkok, Thailand. So he just got done finishing his season out there. So we're gonna hear from him a little bit. So Tanner, just introduce yourself a little bit, where you're from, your background, college, things like that.
Yeah, my name's Tanner Hazelbaker. I was born in Oklahoma City. I grew up in Idaho, and then I bounced around in college, but I finished at Wayland Baptist University in Texas. And then after that, I found my way overseas to France to play basketball my first season there, and just went from there. Kept playing, kept working out, kept looking for new opportunities, stuff like that.
Okay. I know from our time in France, I want if you can share a little bit about your story about your team in France you played for, how that happened, and more about the fact that your dad played there when he was younger as well. I mean, it's not very often
Yeah,
you get to hear a story of a son playing for the same team his father played for. So that's pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, it was kind of a dream for me because my dad had a lot of stories when he had a chance to play in France. The club he played for was called Union Olympique de Pommier in a small town, Pommier, France. And he played there like 30 years ago before I got there, and he kept his connections in contact with his teammates, different people from the club. And then I had the opportunity to go out there and do the same thing, play there. I played there for 2 years, and it was a great experience and cool to share the history too. So it felt really good to do that.
Yeah, were there people still around who were there when your dad was there, like in management around the club, who like when they saw you, they're like, "Oh, we knew your dad. He was here when we were here. Now, you have the experience to do the same thing." Or was it pretty much a whole new club, because of the time difference?
There was a lot of there were several people there who my dad knew when he was there at the club. I mean, like he had some ex teammates are still there, and I actually teamed up with my dad's teammates' sons. I think there was three sons from my dad's teammates that were my teammates when I played. So that was even like a more cool thing that happened. So share that history, and then other people that are still involved in the club and live in the region. I got to meet them and share some stories and stuff. So it was a cool experience.
Yeah, that's definitely unique and awesome. I know you and your dad probably got to share a lot of stuff, over the phone and talk about it. Was there an opportunity for your dad to come over and see you while you were there? Was that ever discussed as a possibility?
Yeah, the first year, my dad was able to come visit, and he came to visit when we had a really big game. It was like a rivalry game against, you know how it is, the rivalry game. What do they call it?
Derbies.
Derby,
Yep.
the derby. We had the derby against Lazat, and it was a home game for UOP, and he got to see that. It was like a big crowd. Um, he got to see a lot of people that he knew from back in the day, and he hadn't got to visit France again since he left, since he played. So he hadn't got to see these people, his friends, in 30 years or whatever it was. So that
Wow.
was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, even cooler the sense that the reason why he went to visit was to see his son play.
Yeah,
How many people really get to experience that one day is go back to the club you played for and watch your son play. So, what
yeah,
happened? What happened after France? What was the next step? I know you've been all over the world a little bit, so tell me a little bit about what happened
a
afterwards.
little bit. Well, kind of a funny thing. So my second year in France, that summer before my second season, I had a contact, a girl that I went to school with, messaged me on Facebook saying there's a tournament in China, and you know this, the Jump 10 basketball tournament in Shanghai. And she said, message my friend here, and she's looking for players for the team, the French team, for this tournament. And the Jump 10 tournament is a tournament for like a whole bunch of different countries. I think they had like 16 or 20 countries. all come to China and compete against each other.
Okay.
And so long story short, I did that and I got to do it. That they take care of your China visa, your flights and everything. And I got to go do that. And that was my entry into the China network and the China ball. And so after I played 2 years in France, I ended up going out to China just to try something different. I actually went out there to start out just doing basketball training with kids, but my goal was to find, the network of players who get to play there. And then I got to play. I got to start playing some tournaments and stuff. And China ball, they set up tournaments and invite players, all over China. And there's a lot of different tournaments. So I got to do that. And then I somehow made a connection in the Philippines, and I got to go to the Philippines and play in some leagues there. And then I had a couple friends who lived in Thailand, and I visited Thailand a few times. And then this last time is when the COVID happened. I came here in January, and when I came here from Shanghai in January when the COVID hit, and then I just been here ever since. And luckily, Thailand was able to have their basketball league here since the COVID situation here is pretty solid. So I was here just kind of at the right time when the teams couldn't fly in other players. So only the players that are in Thailand could play in this league, and that just kind of worked out for some guys here. So we were able to play, have a season, a shortened season, but a good season, and that was a good experience.
Yeah, sometimes just being at the right place at the right time is all that matters. And for you, it worked out well here in Australia. As you know, we didn't have our season this year, still in
Yeah,
the lockdown with the virus cases. So for you to be able to get through a season, I know a lot of players are just dreaming of that right now. We just want to be able to get out there. So that's a great, opportunity. Happy that you got to be able to experience that. What's some of the differences between playing in France and Asia? I know the basketball is completely different. Two completely different styles. The culture is different, which influences it as well. So talk a little bit about the differences, which one you like better, memories, whatever.
okay. The biggest difference I notice is, France, especially European basketball, is real team and real system oriented. It seems like, I mean, you have practices, you focus on your system a lot. You have different offenses and play within the team. And Asia does that, but it's not so much. It's not so much like that. A lot more a lot more opportunities for one-on-one, a lot more, uh, and especially in Asia, there's more imports mostly allowed on teams. So teams are playing more through their imports, where in France they might be more focused on, the whole team as a whole.
Hmm.
So
Okay. Did you prefer the French system where it is more, system oriented, or did you prefer the more, basically we'll call it NBA style of playing through your imports of Asia? I know for me personally, having played, in both as well, there's advantages and disadvantages. When you're in a system, you know what you're going to get every single time because the play is designed for a certain outcome versus when you're in a different kind
yeah,
of system of playing through the imports. There's a lot more question marks. You're a lot more reliant on, the ability of certain players and if they're on or off that night, which can decide games as well. Is there something that you prefer either way, or is it the same thing to you?
I think I prefer the European style and the system because I like to, think about the offenses in the system we're running, where different plays can happen, where I can get the ball to score or make a play for a teammate. I like the system, I think, more now than being dependent upon to go score 25 or we lose type thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
25, 30, whatever, and sometimes if the import doesn't have like the biggest game, they want to blame the import instead of the team type thing. So I think I like the European system, having more practices. And the other thing about Europe is the season there is like, 8 months, 9 months. You're
Mm-hmm.
with the same team and building like some chemistry. In Asia, it's different. Most of the seasons are like 3 months, maybe 2 months, 4 months. It depends on what league, but I would say overall, I like the European.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for you to go back to Europe? Is that something you're looking to do? Have you made yourself more at home in Asia? I know players who've gone out to different Asian countries, and that's now become the part of the world they want to live in. Do you have a choice in the matter? Like, what's going forward? What's your next step that you would like to do?
Yeah, I definitely feel at home out here. I've been here like almost 4 years in Asia, China, and Thailand. But I do have a goal to get back into Europe and play one more season. I hope in like France, like Germany or somewhere around there. I want to live in Europe, play one more season. So this season's kind of tough. Like it's tough for everybody to get over there and get a situation. So I think next year is probably the year I'm going to try to solidify that and try to do that.
Okay.
So
What is your, like, we'll call it, your off season look like in Asia, especially now in times of COVID, with all the uncertainty that's going on with leagues around the world shutting down, other ones opening back up. But even
yeah,
before COVID hit, what's your off season typically like? You said you train kids. Is that a big part of your routine now? Is your own workouts and working out with kids? Is that something you enjoy doing and pursue as well?
yeah. I mean, training on the side is kind of a established way to make extra income and definitely to just spread the game of basketball, help kids out, make a difference. That's pretty important to me. I remember back in the States when I went to basketball camp. I remember the basketball player and coaches who individually like gave me compliments or gave me advice or supported this, told me how to do this and that. I just want to be an impact on some kids over here if I can. And
Okay.
then the off season, as far as me individually, like you're real independent here. Like you're not signed or involved with the team. You got to be like, you really got to wake up thinking like you're a pro. Like you're on your own. Nobody's telling you to do it, but you have to still do your physio, your stretching. You got to go to the gym. You
Mhm.
got to keep your cardio up. You got to stay ready because in Asia, like there could be a league opening up in 2 weeks you don't know about and have a chance. But if you're not in shape or something, then you kind of screwed yourself. So
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. The mindset of a professional player, as you know, is not something that varies based on circumstances. It doesn't change, no matter even COVID. Right now, for us, we're not allowed to go to the gym and things are closed, but you can still have the opportunity to go running and do workouts at home. And you're going to see, I think, at the end of this, who's taking this seriously and who's ready to go versus those who is, more casual. So you're living it in a professional setting, knowing that at any moment something could happen. You're right back in it, and it's an inspiration, just for us here to just stay ready. Even though it's not easy, it's tough being locked in.
yeah,
Things could drop, things could open. We don't want to look back at this time and think it's been wasted.
yeah. I mean, especially like there for you, like, it's like when's it gonna end? You feel like it's gonna open up, you can get back to the gym and stuff, and then they close it down again. So you just gotta keep a positive mindset and stay focused.
Yeah, for sure. What is one of your favorite memories in Asia? For me, when I was in Vietnam, it was crazy just seeing the cultural difference between having lived in Europe for 6 years, playing in the
Yeah.
Middle East, North Africa. Asia was a whole new ball game out of all the other continents I've been in. Do you have any stories about your time there? For me, I'll just give an example. Was they talk about this in the U.S. As I'm walking down the street at the market, and in Vietnam, a lot of people still eat dogs, and you see dogs hanging in the butcher shop the same way you
Wow.
see beef and chicken here. So for me, that was quite a an eye opener. It was like, wow, we got dogs hanging, we got snakes, and all these things I'd never
Yeah.
seen before. So do you have anything that's was an eye opener when you got to Asia? Like, wow, I'm in a whole new world.
Definitely the first time I moved to China. Uh, when I first moved to China, I was actually in West China, which is like very, how do you say, not Americanized. I mean, the opposite of Shanghai, China. And I mean, no English speakers. I had to, they didn't even have silverware. I had to use the chopsticks. I never learned to use those before, but just like, but I was excited to be there and start that journey. But I mean, China, I loved living in China, Thailand, just different culture, different I don't know. And like Thailand is in a way so much different than China. And then going to the Philippines is so different, and they're better English speakers, and they're more kind of like America than Thailand or China. So experiences, I'd have to think about the specific experience. I think I mean, traveling around to like the islands and beaches in like Thailand and Philippines has probably been one of my top favorites. There's some like beautiful vacation places. You see like the pictures of beaches on the internet, and a lot of them are like Philippines or Thailand, like the top beaches in the world. So that's been pretty cool. Just the opportunity to travel here, and travel here in Asia is so cheap. Getting around to China, Thailand, those countries, they're really close together, which is cool too.
Okay. I mean, you're definitely in a great spot of the world where there's just so much to see and so different. I think for me, if I ever get to China, I got to go see the Great Wall one day. That's something that's on most people's
Yeah,
bucket list. It's something like that. Have you been able to do anything like that in your time over there?
yeah, I did get to see the Great Wall. I did, and that was really cool. That was really, really cool. Uh, it's kind of like you kind of get goosebumps like when you go visit, like, wow, I'm really here at the Great Wall. I never thought you would get that opportunity. So you definitely got to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we're only get these chances like one time, and you got to try to see everything you can while you have the opportunity. So
Yeah, I mean, time flies. When I was in France, going to the Eiffel Tower was a big deal. When I was
yeah,
in Israel, going to Jerusalem, seeing the old city was a big deal. In Jordan, going to Petra. There's just places that you have to see while you're there. So you do want to make the most of it. Here in Australia, once this opens up, Great Barrier Reef is on my radar. That's the next step. So the
yeah,
basketball part is great, but definitely cool to hear stories of being able to take advantage of what the country offers outside of sports. Basketball is amazing. We all love it, but there's so much more to every country we live in and the sport. So the kids that you train with, if what's some advice you would give them if they had the same goal as you? You growing up, your dad playing professionally overseas, he probably had a lot of advice for you and helped you. What's advice that you would give kids, that you train or other kids who have the same desire to be able to make basketball their job one day?
man, don't get distracted by all the distractions available nowadays, like phones, video games, doing other stuff. Like really get on a set, have like a goal and a set program you're following, and be organized, and really like work out, put the workouts in, try to do extra, try to do more than, think of the player that is similar to you and try to do more than them every day. But you got to have a goal. Do you want to be a college player? Do you want to go play pro? You got to work towards a goal, and there's no replacing like the hours and the hard work. You just have to do it and believe in yourself.
I know my high school coach, he knew when I was younger that basketball was the dream for me. I wanted to play professionally. And he told me when I was maybe 15, he says, don't be like me and all the guys who, talked a big game, but had, like you said, distractions. Going to the
Yes.
movies, going to a party, whatever, those things in themselves, if that's what you want to do, it's fine. But, you got to make a decision. What do you really want? You can always, when you're 35, 40, 50, 60, there's always going to be time to go do the things that you can do when you're 18, but you only have a certain amount of time to do what you really want. that was an eye opener for me. I knew what I wanted. I was driven to it, but to hear, a coach tell me that he'd wish he'd taken it more seriously because he was sidetracked, hits hard because there are, and even nowadays, there's even more distractions, you said, with video games and phones and technology. That's going to be there as long as you live. Your ability to play
Yeah.
basketball at a high level goes pretty quick. So I appreciate that advice. So what's next for you right now as you wait, during this COVID season? Is there something going on? Or are you just staying prepared?
Man, I'm trying to figure that out. The problem right now is the borders are closed in Asia. China's border is closed, Philippines border, Thailand's border to re-enter is closed. So I'm trying to work on my immigration, and so I can stay here because I don't want to go all the way back to the States. It doesn't seem like a convenient time to go back right now. So just trying to stay here and train. That's the goal. Stay in shape, get in better shape. Um, if some type of opportunity came up in Europe, I would definitely, probably go for that. I'd rather be doing something than just like, waiting to see what happens. So, but the goal is to just be here, wait for next opportunity and get ready. So.
All right. I'll definitely wish you luck. Love following your season in
Thank you.
Thailand and how well you did. Saw on your Facebook the other day that you got second team, all second team, whatever it's called in the league. So congratulations on that. It's definitely a big deal and one to be talked about. You put the hours in, you did what you had to do, and it showed. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right, man. Appreciate the time. Thanks for talking.
For real, Steve. Okay, you too.
All right,
Thanks.
take care.